AI deep dive. That is what we're going into in today's meeting. So we're going to let a few people in and then we're going to get started. Good morning.
Morning, Jordan.
Welcome. Oh, you've got your AI note taker joining us. That's a good start. There we go. Fantastic. So we'll let a couple of people in and then we'll jump straight into it. Oh, nice mug. I like it. The old Disney vibes.
That's Disneyland Paris, that.
Come on, James.
Good morning. You all right?
Good. Yep. We are fine. Yep.
Good.
You're on the road.
Oh, definitely.
Right. So I'm going to jump straight into it. I'm sure more people will join in. We'll do a webinar style like we did last time. I think that was quite useful for everyone. James, if you want to put your microphone on mute because there's quite a lot of background noise. And then if you do want to jump in the Q&A later, just let us know. So yeah, same format as last time really, which is going to be about 20 minutes or so webinar style, and then we'll jump into kind of questions and answers. So AI for electricians. I think the first thing to say about this is that some people are scared of AI. They're like, when they think of AI, they're like, oh, it's robots that are going to take our jobs and stuff like that. But actually, I think as electricians, we're probably safe in terms of the immediate loss of our jobs from AI, although eventually maybe robots will take over if Armageddon doesn't come. But ultimately, right now, it's a massive game-changing tool that we can use to speed things up from sort of an admin point of view. So I'm literally just going to show you some of the ways that I use AI on a daily basis. All of the techniques and tools that I use in this video are either free or they're reasonably affordable. So I think the thing with AI you've got to know is it's a bit of a sliding scale. Like you can spend an absolute fortune on it and you can go down the rabbit hole and you can spend all day, every day learning about it because there is just so many different tools and opportunities using AI out there right now. But on the other end of the scale is learn a bit about it because it is the future, and if you don't learn about it, you're going to get behind. And there are some free tools that you can use that will immediately speed things up. So the first one that I'm going to show you is ChatGPT, and that's probably the one that people know the most about. So you'll see this on my screen here. So to get to ChatGPT, I think it's just like chat.openai.com, or actually up here it says chatgpt.com. I think the free version, if you go to chat.openai.com, this is what will come up. Now I've got a login, so it's showing kind of my whole profile and various kind of previous chats that I've had about different things and stuff. A very simple way that I use it is just to reply to emails sometimes. So do you ever get that thing where you get a customer who sends you a very long and complicated email and you're like, oh, I don't have time to read this. I mean, maybe it's just me. Like we get them from our YouTube followers as well, like very long technical emails about things. And I'm like, I don't have time to spend an hour reading and digesting this email properly. So one great way to use it is literally just to kind of get it to summarize and reply to an email for you. I'll see if I can just like do one live just to kind of demonstrate how it works. So let's see if I can pick one here. Right, okay, so this is, I'm going to just remove the customer's name and stuff. But this is, it's not a very long and complicated one, but it's just an interesting use case. This is a customer who emailed us saying, you fitted some lights for me in 2022, then in 2024 you came back and they flickered. I'm just going to say reply to this email, : and then I just put the email basically. and let's just see what it does. So here we go. Here's a professional, empathetic, and solution-focused response. Dear Philippa, thank you for getting in touch and providing detailed information regarding the issues with your bathroom lights. I understand your concerns and I'm keen to help resolve this for you as smoothly as possible. First, regarding the repeated lamp failures, it is unusual for multiple lamps to show this behavior within such a short period of time. While it may be simply a case of faulty lamps, it could also indicate an underlying electrical issue with the fittings or their connections. To address this properly, I recommend arranging for one of our electricians to carry out a thorough inspection of the fittings and connections. This will help us identify and resolve any potential problems. Secondly, I completely appreciate that replacing individual lamps in bright bathroom fittings can be both challenging and inconvenient. To make this easier for you in the future, we can look at alternative solutions such as LED integrated fittings. These are more modern fittings where the LED light is built in, removing the need to replace individual bulbs. They are long-lasting and require very little maintenance. Dimmable or softer lighting. If brightness is a concern, we can explore dimmable solutions or fittings with diffusers. Please let me know how you'd like to proceed, and I'd be happy to arrange a visit at a convenient time. So that's just saved me time, right? Because I read that. You've got to sense check it, by the way, because sometimes it will come up with stuff that you're like, no, that just sounds weird, or that's not correct. But I can just read through that and go like, actually, I'm happy with that. Like, there's nothing really that I would change. If I replied, it would probably be a lot shorter and less polite than that because I've been just trying to do it quickly and like, yeah, no worries, we'll get someone booked in to have a look at it. But with this, it's made a very nice professional reply. It's covered technical issues like the idea about suggesting LED integrated fittings, which is probably what I would do, and the fact that we're going to need to do, basically do some checks and try and figure out what's going on. So that's like one. Yep.
Sorry. So is that sorry, John, on its recording and everything.
That's right.
Have you had to input any company data for that for it to know that you are?
Yeah. That's a good point. So this is my personal login one. So it does know, for example, that this is the Artisan Electrics team because it knows that I'm using it. But other than that, it's not been trained on, it's not been trained on anything other than general kind of knowledge. So this should work the same for you if you just use the free version. In fact, we can probably do a test.
And will it store that information anywhere? Does it go anywhere, or?
That's another good question. So I think we'll if you can hold those for the end, we'll address those questions at the end, because that's going to be the Q&A right at the end. So that's one example, replying to emails. Another one, which I did yesterday, I'll show you, is calculations, right? So we had a case where we needed to calculate the ZE value for the backup side of a battery system. And so it was a My Energy Libby, and the manufacturers just gave us the PFC readings. They gave us these readings basically, like Pmax, voltage, current, and fault current. And we needed to calculate a standard ZE value for the distribution board that was fed from the backup side of the board of the battery. So I just said, take the following readings and give me the ZE value for each inverter mod. And then I gave it that, and it just did the calculations for me. I mean, it's a very simple calculation, voltage divided by fault current, but it worked out. And it gave it to me for both the inverters, just saved me some time with a calculator or brain power or trying to remember what the formula was. And again, for stuff like that, it's just really, really useful because it knows all of the calculations, it knows all the formulas that you might need. Another use case that I personally use it for is to create content. So if we go to YouTube and we find one of my videos, all right, so we'll search on Artisan Electrics, for example, this latest video that we posted yesterday.
Yeah, and you just
what if I want to make more social media content based around this video? What I can do, I've put this plugin into Chrome, which gives me the transcript of every YouTube video that I watch. So not just ours, but any YouTube video that you can pull the transcript, because YouTube does auto transcribing of all the videos so that it can do subtitles and stuff. So what I can do is pull the transcript from this 50-minute video and then copy it into ChatGPT and say, make me 10 LinkedIn posts based on this video transcript. Boom. And here we go. It's coming up with some ideas. And you can do this with any social media, right? So you can make me Instagram reel scripts and ideas. You can make TikTok ideas or posts on X or whatever it might be that you want to do. And it'll just pick like key things out of what you give it that it thinks would make good content, and then give you like an overview, or literally like this, it will basically lay it out for you as a LinkedIn post. So you can obviously do this with your own content. You can also do it with other interesting content that you find online that you think, oh, that's a really interesting subject, or that's quite topical. I'll try and make some content based around the same subject, and you can use that as inspiration. And there we go. I've got 10 LinkedIn posts. I can check through them, make sure I'm happy with them, tweak them a little bit if I want to. And then I can copy and paste to LinkedIn and schedule them. In fact, that's what I've done this week, to be honest. I've used AI to write me 5 LinkedIn posts. I've scheduled one for each day, every day at 8 o'clock. It goes live all around kind of business subjects. And it just saves me a massive amount of time because I can just batch prepare and schedule content. So yeah, in terms of like preparing content, it's really, really useful as well. I'm just trying to think what else I use it for regularly. And you can use it for like brainstorming and stuff as well. You can use it for, let's see, what else have I got? I did this one like about whether we should earth the armoring of a DC cable. So I kind of went through this debate that was happening on LinkedIn about whether we should earth the DC cable, and then I used it to create like a little segment in that latest video about the DC cable. So I copied and pasted all of the comments from my post on LinkedIn and all the different opinions, and kind of used it to summarize them all into a few key points about whether we should actually earth the armoring of the PV Ultra cable. So that's another example as well. You know what, as well, I did this one. I think it was, oh yeah, so 10 funniest comments from my YouTube videos. So I managed to pull, it's all about having the right data. So I managed to pull all the comments from one or multiple YouTube videos, and then I basically got it to summarize. So like, is Homer Simpson living there? Looks good to me. Leave it alone. Give his dog a dog biscuit and go home. There's just like quite a few. That wiring reminds me of Albanian grow house. There's just quite a few funny comments that are sort of hidden in there, and it'd take me hours to trawl through and read them all and pick out the best ones. So I've just used it to kind of find them for me.
How did you find out about all that? Like how it would do that, Jordan?
So this is the thing I think is you've just got to play around with it, and also there's some great YouTube videos about how people use it. One of the keys is writing the correct prompts. So the prompt is the thing that you tell it, like how you tell it to do what you want it to do. The way that you phrase your prompts is quite important sometimes. But it's just about experimenting with it. And the amazing thing is, like, there's probably a ton of stuff that it can do that I've not even thought about. I mean, one thing is image generation, right? So now it can not only help you with like text and stuff, but it can create images. So create an image of an electrician working on a consumer unit, photorealistic. He is in his 40s and has brown hair with a bit of grey. He is wearing a blue polo shirt. Boom. Let's see what it comes up with. Magic. Look at that.
That's insane.
Yeah, absolutely amazing what it can do. I mean, to be honest, there are way better AI image generators out there. ChatGPT is one of the more basic ones. There's things like Midjourney and stuff that you can use, which are amazing. And you can you can now take this and go, yeah, like that, but I want the wires to be brown and blue because it's UK wiring, and I want him to look a little bit like different, or I want him to be wearing glasses, or whatever you want to kind of tweak it with. And you can do cartoon versions if you want. So if I say cartoon version, then it'll probably come up with a slightly more stylized version. So you can go from like one extreme to the other in terms of the styles of the images. Again, something that you can use, there we go, something that you can use for your socials. I think you've got to be careful how you use it, because it can just get really boring when you see AI generated content all the time. But if you use it in a clever way, you can actually, for example, I did one of Mr. Bean as an electrician. I mean, name a celebrity off the top of your head. Give me a celebrity.
Monty Don.
Monty Don as an electrician. Right. Let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so a photorealistic version. Is that a good likeness? I don't know.
It is, yeah, it is, Jordan, yeah.
Right, let's do a photorealistic version and see what it comes up with.
Oh no.
There we go. So it's insanely powerful. Now, the other thing I've done with it in the past is give it an EICR. So you can give it documents and get them to read the documents. For example, I did recently, I got it to read the data sheet for some solar panels to check whether they were warranted for ground mount systems, or get it to read the whole warranty document for me, basically. So you can get it to come up with documents for you. So like create a model release form for me to use when people appear in my YouTube videos. And it'll just write a document. It's basically like its legal knowledge is quite incredible, really. So it'll write you kind of legally compliant documents. You could use it to write employment contracts and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, caveat, check with the solicitor first to make sure that they're right. But it is quite incredible what it can do in terms of producing documents. You can also get it to produce like not PDF, like spreadsheets as well. You can give it data and ask it to produce like graphs and things. So yeah, there's a ton of really interesting stuff you can do with ChatGPT. The other one that I use quite a lot is and this will blow your mind, is called 11 Labs, and it's a AI voice generator. So what I have done is I have trained it on my voice, and I can now, so our video editor can now create a voiceover that sounds exactly like me for any video by just typing it. So you can do text to speech, right? So if I wrote this yesterday because I got a voicemail from a customer who said that they got a quote from Octopus, but they wanted a quote from us for solar as well. And I changed the name and then thought it might make a funny post. So here we go. I'll choose. So you can choose the voice. So David Castlemore is a very professional English kind of AI voice. So if we do him first, hopefully you can hear this.
Good day to you. My name is Michael Mophead. I'm interested in putting solar panels with battery and so on my house.
Okay, it's American.
I've got a
voice.
quote from Octopus Electric. I'm a customer of theirs anyway, but I'd just like to have another look around, and I've heard a lot of good news about you guys. Please call me back on my mobile. Thanks.
So that is literally just from this text here. So if I copy the text from the email for that customer for the bathroom lights, right? I'll paste it in here. And then what I'll do is I'll choose my voice. I'll do the style exaggeration down a little bit, otherwise a bit over the top. You can change the style. So like if you've got a certain style, you can exaggerate it a little bit and make it a little bit more pronounced. But here we go. Let's just do generate speech and see what it comes up with.
Dear Philippa, thank you for getting in touch and providing detailed information regarding the issues with your bathroom lights. I understand your concerns, and I'm keen to help resolve this for you as smoothly as possible. Firstly, regarding the repeated lamp failures, it is unusual for multiple lamps to show this behaviour within such a short period of time. While it may simply be a case of faulty lamps, it
Mad,
can
isn't
also
it?
indicate.
So you get the point. Like, if you listen very, very carefully, there might be some subtle nuances that give away that it's actually AI generated. But in general, like, it is scary. I mean, I say to my mum now, like, if you ever get a phone call and it sounds like me, but they're asking you to do something really, really stupid, like send a load of money to a certain bank account or something, just don't do it. And I've decided you know what, my voice and my face are out on the internet so much now that I need to kind of own this and like own my own AI voice. So I've done it in here, and you just feed it a load of audio files of your voice reading. I think it's like I've given it about 2 hours of my voice just reading stuff, and then it basically generates, and you can do text to voice on anything. So I mean, I did think about it the other day, like I could probably like write a podcast and just have it read by my voice in AI audio now. You know, it's incredible what you can do, really. And it's obviously very handy for like doing voiceovers for videos and things like that. But for me, this is one of the things that just shows you the mind-blowing power of AI right now and how it can, you know, what it can do. And obviously you can do video as well. There's things like HeyGen, which I was going to try. I've not kind of got around to it yet, but it can generate a video AI avatar. So you basically so this is actually an AI video avatar of the CEO of HeyGen, and you can get it, so you can then sync it up to your voice, so you can type something, get it to say it, and you're on screen saying something. It's your voice, it's your face. It's just insane what you can do. I mean, there's some cool use cases that I'm looking at potentially with OpenQuote, for example, the business that software business that I'm working for, with regards to like doing AI like chatbot type thing. So you go on our website, there's Jordan, and you can ask him any questions that you want and he'll respond. You know, you could do some really cool stuff like that. And I think that's probably where the future of AI is going, is, you know, generative AI, creating custom content, user requested custom content and things like that. So yeah, that's sort of another really interesting use case. Another one that I do use every day is this one, and I think actually somebody in the meeting's already got Andrew has got a note taker, so it may be here we go. So how do I do this without basically I've got it's called Fireflies, and it's an AI note taker that jumps into all my meetings. It takes notes of all my meetings, these are not all of them because some of them they're kind of confidential, so I can't show. But essentially, like for example, we had a Facebook strategy plan on the 12th of December, and yeah, we talked about loads of stuff. I've got timestamps and recordings of the whole thing, but then we can also look at like a summary of the notes. We ended up talking about a load of other things as well. So it gives me an overview of the meeting, and then it gives follow-up points for everyone who's in the meeting, so that we know exactly what we need to do. Because for me, I do so many meetings that I jump out of one meeting into another and I forget what my follow-up points are for the previous meeting often. So that's a really good one. It is payable, but it's not that expensive, and it saves you a ton of time in just like figuring out your action points from meetings and stuff. I'll leave links to all these along with the video afterwards so you can find out about them. There's one more that I'll share with you guys, and then we'll go over to Q&A. So that is Whisper Transcribe, and it's a little bit like what I was showing you with the whole using the YouTube transcriptions. But what you can actually do, you can use it to transcribe like audio files. So for example, for me, I've got phone calls from customers, and I can basically transcribe the phone call and then get them to get it to sort of summarize my phone call, make sure that I've got action points from the phone calls, because again, I get a lot of long phone calls with customers, and sometimes I'm like, oh, what was my action points from that customers? And then you can take, so this is from the webinar I think that I did last week. So I put the audio through from the webinar, and then you can do quotes from it. So you can generate, like, give me the most engaging quotes, loads of stuff just by giving it audio files. Yeah, here we go. That was a classic quote from last week. Customers don't care what your van looks like. They care about what benefit they're going to get from using your services. That was one of my very blunt quotes that I did last week. So that's an idea, but then also what you can do, so you can give it YouTube videos, but you can also give it podcasts. So if you get any podcasts that you really enjoy listening to and you want to kind of clip some content based around the podcasts, then you can do that. Again, it costs, you pay like per minute and you just buy credits. It's not the cheapest, but when you're creating content professionally like we do, it's really an invaluable tool. So there we go. That's just a very brief overview of some of the uses that I use for my business with AI. So over to you guys. Questions? John, I'll go to you first because you had a few queued up, I think.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. So that solar warranty, you were asking AI to read through to see if it had certain things on it. Did you have to open the PDF of that item and then copy the text of that PDF into ChatGPT?
No. So let's do a little example. You can just give it the PDF. So if I go to let's go to JA Solar data sheet. I'll just quickly Google, find a data sheet. JA 440 watt bifacial. Right. See if I can download a PDF quickly and then show you guys. In fact, I should just be able to give it the one that I did the other day. So let me just see if I do. You just literally attach it. So find the file. Here we go. Right. So if I attach. Right, so I've just clicked attachments. I've gone into the folder where it was and selected the file. And now I can just say, like, give me a summary of the warranty for these panels. Tell me any exceptions. My spelling is rubbish, but it doesn't, that I should know about. Right.
And you know roughly how many pages that PDF has? Is it like
Yeah, let me have a quick look. So it is 9 pages long.
pages? It's that's
Yeah.
Well, that's
So,
pretty
you
good.
know, it's instead of having to trawl through it and absolutely kill your brain trying to figure it all out, just getting it to summarize stuff like this. And then, you know, the main things are installation in non-approved locations like mobile units and offshore facilities, improper handling, damage caused by force majeure, lightning, hailstorms, floods, earthquakes. So that's an interesting one. You know, if you're installing in an area where there's hail, they're not going to be warranted if they get damaged. Extreme environmental conditions like salty air. So you can't install them near the sea, for example. And this is one that we've literally been facing over the last couple of weeks. We've got one in Cornwall right next to the sea for like a fishmonger place that, so they want us to do solar, but we can't find any products that are actually suitable to install that close to the sea. So yeah, there we go. That's one. Yeah, one example. So you can just give it a PDF. You can even give it a whole book. You know, like if you've got a book in PDF, you can give it that. It'll read the whole thing and digest it and analyze it for you if you want it to.
Well,
Yeah.
And the other one, Jordan, does it store the information anywhere? So you've done that now.
Yeah.
Will it store that anywhere?
Yeah. So because I've got a paid version, it's private. So what that means is it doesn't use it to teach its language models and share that with other people. Like, so if you just go on the public one that's kind of open, it will use whatever you put in there to train its models, and therefore you could come unstuck if you give it personal data from customers, or you give it your phone number or your address or something like that. So you just got to be really careful. If you use a private one that you pay, I don't know, 20, 30 quid a month for or something, then you don't have that issue. So I definitely recommend getting the paid subscription. The other thing though that you can do is you can train it on certain things. So for example, I've created some custom GPTs here. So I've created up here on the left here, you can see, for example, Content Genius. So what I've done is I've trained this one on how we like to produce content, the kind of style that we've got, etc. And then I can ask it specific questions and to create specific pieces of content, and it will do it in our style. Same with this one, Sales Assistant Pro. So I've trained this one with all of the product knowledge for the products that we use. So for example, I've given it like, these are the products that we would usually recommend to customers. I've transcribed a load of our phone calls that we've done with customers and fed it like how we speak to customers, the kind of questions they ask and how we respond, and also the data sheets and installation guides for all of the products that we install. So I can basically get it to reply to emails in a very accurate way that would be consistent with what we would usually say to customers. Again, you still have to sense check it, but it's usually very, very accurate. I mean, you can see some of the questions here. It's got like, what are your current energy use patterns? Do you have electric vehicle or planning to get one? So it's asking the questions that we would usually ask customers. How important is backup power for you? And then there's the electrical advisor that I've created, which is the one that I use to advise on EICRs and kind of come up with lists of remedial work for EICRs. So I'll give it an unsatisfactory EICR and I'll say, give me a list of all the C2s what remedial work is needed, what materials would be needed, and how long do you think each item would take, for example. And it will just go and it'll give me a whole list, which I can then look through, copy and paste into the quote if I want to, tweak it a little bit and send it out to customers. So yeah, it's amazing what you can do, really. And the sort of use cases are endless, really, with it. It's sort of how far does your imagination stretch? Anything that you do repeatedly, from a kind of admin or office point of view, it's worth asking yourself, could AI help me with this? Definitely. Does that answer your question, John?
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any other questions from anyone else? Oh, one more. Yeah.
Sorry, there's one more. On the Fireflies note taker.
Yeah.
Does it record and take notes from a meeting like this where you have users logged on, or could it be you're in a meeting room, there's 5 of you in a meeting room, and you just set it to record? Will it do the same thing as it does now with 6 users on a video screen?
It doesn't work as well. It will work if you're in a meeting room, but the idea is really for video conferences like this because it knows who's who. So we have it every week with our office team meeting, and there's me here remotely on Google Meets, and then there's, say, Harvey on the screen, but it's actually got Tom, Harvey, Erica, Callum. They're all behind one screen, and then it doesn't know who's talking because it just sees the name Harvey. So it's not as good for situations like that, but it'll still record what's being said and, you know, still break it down. So it is useful. The other good thing as well for me is that sometimes the team has meetings and I'm invited, but I'm too busy to attend or whatever, and I know they can handle it without me. So I won't join, but my AI note taker will, and I can then later on jump in, see what they talked about. I can even listen back if I want to. So, for example, Nathan Callum had a really good meeting with a potential sponsor last week, and it was like one of the first that they've kind of done completely on their own. It's for quite a big sponsorship deal for 2025. So I thought, I'm going to listen in, see how they got on, give them any tips of what I would have done differently or whatever. And it was really useful to be able to do that. Yeah. Anything from you, Andrew? Do you use AI at all?
I started to, and I'm very grateful, Jordan, that I've learned an awful lot from you this morning. This Andrew's note taker is Otter. That's one of my girls, suggested to use Otter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to comparing what Otter comes up with and your notes there. Going back to what John was saying earlier, asking you about how many pages there was on that PDF. So what I think happens with the free versions, you're limited as to how much text you can put into it. And for the paid versions, yes, I don't know what limit is there. And it's yes, I mean, I'm just blown away as to just how much AI, and you say you're limited by your imagination. I'm just really enjoying it. Thank you.
Yeah, it is mind-blowing. And I mean, I'm the kind of person, I love technology. It really excites me. So this stuff really excites me because, like, this is mad. You know, for me, it feels a bit like the whole, you know, when the iPhone first came out or whatever, and you're like holding this thing and it's got a touch screen and you're like, wow, this is amazing. And then it's got a camera on it and stuff. And it's just like a whole big leap in technology. And I feel like that's where we're at right now with this whole AI revolution, is just suddenly this explosion of new possibilities because of AI. But it's also, it can be quite overwhelming. I have to really rein myself in because I've got the tendency to go really down the rabbit hole with it and like try and learn and understand everything about it. And I'm like, no, Jordan, you're trying to run a business. You just need to just learn the top level stuff, and otherwise I'll just end up becoming like an AI, like I'll create an AI business or something. That's the kind of person I am, because it just really excites me. I think it's incredible. And to be honest, we're only just scratching the surface, really, because we're only, I mean, when was the first time you heard about ChatGPT? I was thinking about it maybe a year ago. Like, I was not using any of this stuff and I didn't really know about it, or it was just starting to, I was just starting to hear about it on, people were talking about it on YouTube and stuff. And I'm really down the rabbit hole with it. So for me, I know a lot about it now, but there's still a ton of people who have no clue that this stuff is out there and the possibilities that it has.
Yeah. We've got a Christmas dinner where we invited people we know from the industry, and that's one of the things that we're going to have, sort of, 5 to 10 minutes just going through the power of AI, because I think a lot of people are just not aware of the power of it.
Yeah, and I think it's just one of those things where if you don't embrace it, you will get left behind. It's a bit like the internet, like people who didn't embrace the internet or the smartphone, you get left behind, right? You've got to move with the times. And so as a business owner, you do need to at least have a basic understanding of these kind of things in order to know how it can help you, but also understand your competition and also understand the dangers as well. For example, making sure your team know that they shouldn't just be putting in public, like personal information into the public version of ChatGPT, because there's potential GDPR issues there. And they might not think about that. So you've got to actually, if you've got a team, you've actually also got to train them on safe use of AI a little bit, and the safe and compliant use of AI.
Yeah, no, I think that was an excellent point, Jordan. It's something hadn't occurred to me there. So yeah, well done.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I mean, I think I might even create like a separate little section on the school community just about AI, because I think as more and more people start to use it, they'll find different use cases, and we could share like how we're using it with our businesses and little hacks and tips that will help save time and stuff. But yeah, it's certainly a mad world out there. Who'd have thought that you could do all of this stuff with the power of machine learning?